I call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Carrabelle City Commission. It's Thursday, August the 1st already, 2024, 6:02, 6:01, 6:02. I'm going to start with a brief prayer, the pledge of allegiance to the flag, so if you would please stand. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I have lots on my heart tonight I'd like to discuss with you. It's probably better in another environment. But as usual, I want to thank you for the many gifts and blessings that you bestow upon us every day. Those are always wonderful, and you're always looking out for our welfare. And tonight, again, I ask that you give us your wisdom and guidance as we proceed forward in our business at hand tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Good to see folks here tonight. Okay, first thing is the consent agenda. And we had the July 11th, 2024 regular meeting minutes and the attorney's invoices. It's your pleasure, the board.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Have a motion to approve the consent agenda, and I have a second by Commissioner Walden. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the opportunity for public comment for anything that's not listed on the agenda. If anyone in the public, if they filled out a speaker card, and Ms. Keisha, I think you have one.
Julie Bledsoe.
Ms. Julie, come forward. State your name for the record, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Julie Bledsoe. I live in Carrabelle. I'd just like to get your advice on about a situation that happened at Carrabelle Beach on July 24th. I wasn't sure what to do. I couldn't get in touch with any of the people in Carrabelle. But what happened was my husband was out there. We go to the beach almost every day and walk it or fish. And my husband was out there about 8:30 in the morning, and a tourist from France was in an RV. And I spoke to Miss Sabrina about this yesterday. But the RV hit that big pothole right in the middle of the road on the old Carrabelle Beach Drive, and his septic fell out into the road and started leaking all over the parking lot. He then continued driving because he didn't realize it had happened, back up onto 98, left a trail of raw sewage, toilet paper, everything. It was absolutely disgusting. And my husband followed him he went down to the pavilion, and my husband said, "You've lost your black box," whatever. And he came back, very apologetic, very sorry about what had happened. French, barely spoke much English, and he stayed around to try to help clean things up. My husband called me. I called the sheriff because I thought maybe they might want to close that road down, maybe not have any cars come into the parking area. I also called solid waste, and I was told that somebody would come out and help clean it up. Then that person from solid waste, I believe her name was Sheila, she called me back and said, "My guy's at Carrabelle Beach Pavilion, and there's no problem here." I said, "Well, no, the problem is at the old Carrabelle Beach." "Oh, well, we don't handle that." I said, "Well, you've got raw sewage everywhere, and it's going to rain really hard today," because that was during that week where we had a lot of torrential rain, and that's going to go right into the bay. And they said, "Well, we're sorry, we can't help you." So then I called Jessica Ward. She was busy, but she did get back to me eventually. Then I started calling City Hall, and I called 6 times. I could not get through to water or sewage. I called Miss Courtney. I left her a message. I called Miss Keisha, and told her, "This is what's going on. Could you please have somebody call me, because this is out there. It's disgusting, and I think something needs to be done." Well, Ms. Keisha told me she would give you a message, Mayor Millender, and that you were in a meeting with Courtney, and I never did hear another word about it. So that evening, Fonda Davis called me, and he said, "I understand that an RV hit a septic tank on Carrabelle Beach." And I said, no. The RV lost its black box, and that's what happened. Anyway, he said, well, I'll take care of it. We went back the next day. Nothing was done, but it had rained a lot. But there was still toilet paper all over the parking lot. So I would like to understand, who do I go to? And I spoke to Sabrina about this, and I also talked to Mayor LaPaz about this in the past. It seems like whenever there's any type of issue at Carrabelle Beach, Carrabelle City says, oh, that's not our job. We don't have the equipment to do the grading or to pick up the trash or to do whatever. And nobody from Carrabelle City will take responsibility for it. When you go to the county, who has the equipment, who apparently does pick up the trash, who's supposed to do the grading, who has a solid waste department, they say, oh, that's not our purview. We can't deal with that. So when things like this happen, who are we supposed to go to? Because I know that FWC, through the Trident Fund, has received over $20 million to clean up the bay, and I know that sewage, it's not a lot, but it's still disgusting. It's raw sewage. I know that was washed into the bay from that escapade. So how do we handle this in the future?
Well, I'll offer anyone else the opportunity to respond, but to me it sounded like you handled it. First of all, it's kind of a unique situation. That doesn't happen very regular. A couple things that I know sound like you handled and you contacted the appropriate people. And I think I'm correct in what I'm going to tell you, is the roads to the old Carrabelle Beach, those are not in the city limits. Those are not city responsibility. Those are county roads. Now, the parking area at the old beach, as we call it, the locals call it, that is a part of the state land property that we as a city of Carrabelle, we do not own, but we have been, if you will, given the given the responsibility of managing that land. And that happened way before I came into this seat, and what I know about it, and I don't want to speak out of turn, I don't know what all the situation was then when the city took over the responsibility of managing that property, but I do understand that the powers to be at that time also communicated with the state that the city of Carrabelle is not a large city, not very well funded, does not have the equipment to do the type of management that some folks would like to see done on that property. We don't have a budget for it, never have had a budget for it. When the state gave the city that land to manage, they gave no funding to manage that land. So to me, in that unique situation that you're describing, sounds like you went through the proper channels. Yes, Keisha did come in and inform me and Courtney. Sound like that people were responding to a certain degree that would. The health department be the first one that I would go to because of dumping of the raw sewage. Our resources, our equipment here in the city does not have anything to clean up a spill to that nature. The first reaction I had was send a fire truck over there and wash it off the road. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to get in trouble with the health department and just pushing it off the road. So anyway, that's probably not the answer you wanted to hear, but that's the best answer that I can give. Does anyone else have anything to add to that? Courtney, do you?
Well, it was my understanding that someone had contacted the health department, that they had already been contacted, and the sheriff's department had already made contact with the
Right.
RV people. And I do know that the county road department has been back out there and scraped up. I don't know if they got all the toilet paper, but they were out there this week.
Okay.
We've had issues with trash out there, and I understand that Carrabelle City does not have the machinery, the mechanisms, whatever, to take care of this. So I think there needs to be some type of agreement with the county, perhaps, who does have all of the correct equipment to deal with things like this. Is there something, because this happens so many times that that trash can will be completely full and overflowing, and when I call the county, they always say, oh no, that's Carrabelle's. They're the first ones to point the finger and say, it's Carrabelle's problem. And I know Carrabelle does not have a trash can, a trash facility. You can't go out there and pick that up. I understand that. So, but why do you it just seems like everybody's pointing fingers back and forth to each other.
Well, it seems like we're passing the buck.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to pass the
I
buck and
understand
give,
you don't have the facility.
I'm not trying to pass the buck from our standpoint here. I'm explaining to you where we're at with that situation and we're not funded. The trash can, if I'm not mistaken, is sitting on our responsible property on that parking lot. Is that correct? And we,
Been picking it up. We don't normally, they do it when they do the other, but
right.
we know how that goes.
And we can check into that and see if they can address it a little more regular, if you will. But again, I just want to reiterate that those roads that are on that property, those are county roads.
I understand that.
Okay.
Not just the roads, all the private property as well.
That's correct.
None of it, the city limit stops before that.
That's correct.
I understand that Carrabelle leases the beach, and I guess you own the ramp, but then anything outside of the ramp is county. But county doesn't want to take the responsibility
Yeah.
for it, and they tell me, call Carrabelle. And I know what
Well-
Carrabelle's gonna say, we don't have I don't want to beat a dead horse. but-
Exactly, and I appreciate that, and I don't either. And that's the reason why I said I think that we can communicate with the county on the garbage can aspect. But also, if you would write your state representative and your senator,
Okay.
and encourage them to fund the maintenance, if you will, and taking care of that piece of state land, that's state land. That's not county land and that's not city land.
Sure.
That's
Are you
state of
talking about
Florida
the
land.
The beach or the parking area?
The parking area is part of a tract. I don't know how many acres. Do you know how many acres, Dan?
Gosh, I mean, I don't want to get it wrong here, but 120?
Right,
Yeah.
roughly.
And just,
And you're
Every-
leasing that?
Everything,
120?
everything southward of those houses that's running along that street there, everything south of that private property is state of Florida lands, all the way down to Fishery Beach, all the way up to the beachside park.
Okay.
And that's state of Florida lands. It's not ours. It's just that the city has been tagged with the responsibility of maintaining something without a budget.
Understand. Okay, I will write
Yeah.
my representatives, and thank you for the.
And if they would give us a bunch of money, well, we'd love to do it.
Some of it,
Yeah.
any money.
But
And-
there's
and
strings
th-
attached to that kind of money.
Excuse me?
When you get free money, there's always strings attached.
Yes, it is. Yes.
You know, you gotta find out what they want from you in return. Thank you.
But thank you. Yes. Okay. Keisha, you have anyone else? Okay. Okay, let's move on to the commissioner's report. Commissioner Walden?
I have nothing tonight.
Commissioner Brown?
I have a little report. Thank you all for joining us this evening. On July 19th, the Carrabelle History Museum had a retirement party for their longtime curator, Joan Mady. Joan's artistic talents have brought many of the museum's exhibits to life and helped shape the museum into the treasure it is today. Although she's retiring from the museum, she did promise to continue to be a lively part of the community with her crowd favorite, the Fishy Fashion Show. I didn't have any other board meetings in July, but this month I'll have several to report for September. The first meeting of the One Franklin County Board is on August 9th to discuss future workforce housing for our community. I'll also have reports from the TDC and the ARPC board meetings later this month. Please be sure to follow the weather this week. We may have a storm coming our way. Preparedness information can be found at franklincountyemergencymanagement.com. They're also updating their Facebook page several times a day with updates and storm tracking information. Thank you, and I hope you have a great month of August.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Gray?
Nothing at this time, sir.
Commissioner Reese is absent tonight, and I'll just echo the same thing that Commissioner Brown just expressed about the storm. We don't know what the storm is. We were talking about that earlier coming in, but heads up that we could have some foul weather, anything from rain to some strong winds. We don't know at this point. I looked at the forecast just before I came into the meeting, and they still don't know to what extent the weather's going to be. But anyway, a heads up, and Courtney will probably report that she's already spoke with staff, with her staff, and with water and sewer and the streets and roads, alert them, and where they can be prepared and ready to respond to any city needs, whatever they may be, throughout the weekend and the first of next week. Thank you. Okay, staff reports. First on the agenda is the attorney, Mr. Hartman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So I wanted to, and I've gotten feedback from Commissioner Brown regarding just the truck route draft ordinance, trying to implement everything we talked about at the workshop. And so if anybody sees any, just take a review on it. Send me any comments, revisions, questions.
Okay, there's no comment at this time?
The other news. Yes. Yeah. The other news. What's that? Is it? God. The other. Is that good enough? Okay. The other thing is the public records case 2022 CA22 is now over. Judge issued his final order. Wrote it himself, 13 pages long, and basically the case is over, and that's that. So we are done with that.
It's been ongoing for years.
Yeah, he's disposed of all the final motions and whatnot.
Super.
Yep,
That's good to know.
yep, we're done with that one.
Thank you for your work.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I have nothing else. See, which one?
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Ms. Courtney?
I sent the staff reports out. Did everybody get a chance to look at those? Got any questions?
No, it looks like everybody's moving along, business flowing.
As the mayor reported, we are going ahead and making preparations for storm. We don't know what it's going to do, but I have had the guys out, told them, we expect a lot of rain to get the stormwater cleaned out and the drains cleaned out, and Charlie's got a plan for the water and sewer department. We joined with the emergency management on bidding out for debris removal and debris monitoring. Our contract's not up until July of 2025, but since they were going ahead and doing theirs, we jumped on board with that. So the bid opening for that will be August 5th at 3 o'clock, and that is open to the public. I will do at that time is open the bids and log them, because they're really thick and you have to go through them, and you have to, they're based on a ranking, which is like price and experience and equipment, and so you have to form a committee and go through them and then rank them on all of these items. So we'll just open the bids, then we'll form a committee and we'll go through that during the month, and it'll come back in September for award.
Okay.
And we're not in any hurry because we're good for a year. So,
Hope we don't have to use them.
me too. The mayor and I met with David Walker, CEO of Weems, this past month. We addressed the issues that they were wanting to use that tax money, the county was, and so we addressed the issues that we had in the agreement, which were that it was saying that Carrabelle had an urgent care and that they would have extended hours and weekend hours, and he was going to take that back to his board and discuss with his board. He sent out an email today, and I did send that to all of you guys, so if you'll just take a look at it. We're not done negotiating, so I don't really want to get into depth on all of that, but take a look at the email he sent and let me know what you think.
Just one quick, I would say on that, without getting into detail, as Courtney was saying, the communication sounds positive, and that's good to hear. Positive in the manner of improving the health services in this end of the county. And I'll stop there. Thank you, Ms. Courtney.
And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Now, I have a question on those bids, and we can address that on the 5th. Do we choose one vendor out of that, or do we
You
choose
have
multiple?
one debris removal and one debris monitor.
Okay,
And they're different companies because one monitors the other.
okay, thanks. Okay, Ms. Clerk? Ms. Keisha?
All right, y'all got your calendars out?
Yes, ma'am?
We've got some upcoming meetings. So August the 15th, we'll have a P&Z meeting at 2 o'clock. August the 20th is our CRA meeting, and we've scheduled a budget workshop. I believe we decided directly after that meeting, didn't we?
Correct.
Is that just for CRA or for CRA and city?
Just
Just for-
CRA.
Okay.
CRA adopts its own budget. I need to schedule a budget workshop, and then hopefully we can add on the first reading of this truck route ordinance that we've been working on.
Okay.
And I was looking at August the 29th, if anybody's available for that.
I'm
And we
free.
don't have to have that one at 5:01, so we could have that one in the morning or the afternoon, or,
I have to work that day till 4.
I'm good for the 29th, Keisha. It's up to these other commissioners here. Sounds like Commissioner Brown has one request.
If we could do 5 o'clock.
Fine with me. But it's not, I'm not gonna,
killing it.
These
we're
usually
killing the
last a long
snap.
time, don't they?
Yes. That's
I
why we
could-
usually try to have them in the mornings.
Okay, I have an ARPC board meeting that day at 10, and it usually lasts until noon.
So we could do 1,
1.
29th?
or even we could do 2, and then that we could possibly be done by, if that would, I don't know how much,
1's fine.
1.
29th at 1?
Yeah, that's where we get most of our grit done, and then, once we go into the hearings, we've got most of the work done, so we don't want to, be here till 10 o'clock at night.
I agree.
Good, good. I'm with you.
Then we'll have September 5th as our next regular city meeting. And I have certified the tax roll for our tentative budget hearing September 12th at 5:01. And then we have, from the 12th, I have to advertise, and then once the advertisement runs, I only have 3 to 5 days to hold the final meeting. So that means the advertisement will run on the 19th, so we can have it the 23rd or 24th.
Not the 25th.
Because 20th be 1, 21,
Could
2,
we
3,
do it
4,
the
5.
23rd at like lunchtime?
No, we have to do it at 5:01. Or we could do it at 5:30, but it has to be after 5
After
o'clock.
5.
We always just do 5:01. But
Yep.
I don't like I don't prefer to do it on the 24th because that's our 5th day. So if something does come up on the 23rd, we can reschedule for the next day. But otherwise, then we'd have to start the whole trim process all over again, and that's very expensive.
23rd, 5:01, and that's for the...
That'll be our final hearing, so it should only take a few minutes.
So that's September 23rd, right? Yep.
Yes.
September 23rd.
Now, backing up on the 29th, you calling that a workshop?
We're going to call it a workshop and then a special meeting afterwards.
Afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I was questioning right there, because I heard something about the first reading of,
But we'll need a motion for that,
exactly. For the workshop or for both?
for both.
Okay.
Are we finished setting all of our meetings?
Yeah, that's all the meetings.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve all of the discussed meetings.
We just need the
Just need the-
29th.
Yeah, the 29th.
29th, budget workshop and special meeting following at 1 PM.
Yes.
So you make that a motion,
That's the motion.
okay? Have a motion and a second for the 29th special meeting and the workshop. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Ms.
And
Keisha.
that's 29th at 1 o'clock.
Yes. 3 meetings that day. Let's do it.
Okay, Ms. Keisha, anything else?
No, that's all.
That's it? Okay.
That's enough to keep me busy for the.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Mr. Russell, you're up.
All right, thank you, Mayor. For our DOT Small Communities Outreach Project, that's Baywood, we'll be monitoring that grant award, which should take place at the end of next week. Haven't heard anything on it
Should take place
But-
when? I'm sorry.
by Friday, August the 8th.
So we would know on Baywood by the end of next week on the grant.
They don't always meet their date that they have, but we'll be watching.
All
Okay.
right.
We'll be watching.
Thank you.
Okay. On our lighthouse project, there's still some punch list items and one more installation that they need to do, but we're working on closing all that out for phase 2. On Marine Street, we are, the contractor's working on the trench drain, and the railing has been installed. We had our inspector go around and check all the bolts, every single bolt on the railing, and we found 8 that were problematic, so we've noted that for the contractor to correct. The electrician is also, I believe he's also started. If he's not, he's about to start the work at the pavilion.
He has.
Okay,
I
good.
think it's completed.
You say, Courtney, he has?
He has, I believe it's completed.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Now, does the electrician, does that include the lighting? Or
Not the
separate?
street lighting,
The-
just
the
was the
pavilion.
pavilion lighting.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, on summer camp, we do have a grant application that's due September 1st, and that's for the water main interconnect. So we'll be making that submittal. For the Lanark East and West Sewer Rehabilitation, we met with the grant agency earlier this week and discussed the process for letting. We do need to submit that to DEO before, and get their approval on the specifications and plans before we make an advertisement. But those projects are forthcoming,
Moving forward.
yes.
Thank you.
And on well number 5, we met with the Water Management District staff today. We're going to submit some partial information to them, and then Donna in our office will be meeting with Charlie tomorrow, and there's some water use information that they're pulling together that's required. All right, on 5th Street resurfacing, you've probably seen the milling that's taking place on 3rd Street and 5th. So that work is progressing. And then on the Lanark West sewer improvements, that grant and award announcement is supposed to be in December. Okay, and that's all I have to report tonight.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Russell? Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Thank you.
You have a lot going on.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Did you not do the big trench that's next to?
Yes, it's under construction right now.
It's pretty scary.
Okay.
I mean, have you looked at it?
Yes. It's not done yet. It's not
They
done.
got it roped off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll-
next on the agenda is the advisory boards. Ms. Tamara, do you have anything tonight? Well, thank you. Mr. Steve? Time's up. That's a $25
Yes,
fine.
right in front of everyone.
I shut that off, I know I did. So
Mr. Cow.
I'm Steve Allen. I'm here representing the Carrabelle Lighthouse Association. So on June the 25th, I ended my term of 9 years as the president of that organization. This was planned as we transitioned to a new set of bylaws where there is a new working board that operates the organization. And I anticipate being the director of operations and continuing the work that I've begun and worked with moving forward. So there's not going to be much change in terms of that. But I want to recognize the new board, citizens who've stepped up to serve and work and help us move forward in a positive light. Kathleen Oman is the chair. Tim Keith Lucas is the co-chair. A volunteer that came to us several years ago, Albert Koch, is serving as treasurer. We have Marion Morris, who's serving as secretary. Candace Sheridan, who is a member at large. Michelle McPherson from East Point, who's also a member at large, was elected a member at large. And Mark Richards. And so they're now, we're working hard, and for the last month, we've mostly been dealing with all the TDC grant closures from last year and getting lined up for next year. And so I want to especially thank each and every one of you and the work that y'all did. Following that last meeting we had, I think it was almost the next day, but I can't imagine it. So probably a couple days later, there were people up there that were hired to improve and correct some of the problems that were identified in the pictures. And thank you all for that. I know the mayor and you worked to make that happen. I really thank you so much. Is there anything else? Any questions?
No, just, I'll ask the board, do y'all have anything for Mr. Steve?
Keep up the good work.
All right, thank
Sounds
you.
like you have a really good board.
I'm psyched. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill? Okay. No questions. I just, same thing, Steve. I just want to thank you for everything you have done to this point.
Yes, sir.
And that you continue to do. I understand that your job's going to be somewhat a little bit different, but I think.
off the hook.
Exactly. You're not off the hook. And again, appreciate it, all the effort and time that you put into that. We
Yes, sir.
appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, we don't have anybody from the airport?
I didn't put together a report.
Okay,
I've got to get back on that.
okay.
We really didn't have anything to report though.
We were at the meeting. I don't remember much. Yeah. Okay, next on the agenda is a public hearing for resolution number 06-2024. Mr. Hartman?
All right. This is City of Carrabelle Resolution 06-2024. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute a public transportation grant agreement for project 446666-1, environmental design and construction of hangar development with the Florida Department of Transportation to provide 100% grant funding. Whereas the City of Carrabelle agrees to negotiate and execute a public transportation grant agreement for fiscal year 25, project number 446666-1, to execute $1.3 million of funds for environmental design and construction services, whereas the City of Carrabelle needs 100% grant funding for the environmental design and construction of the hangar development project, whereas the Carrabelle City Commission wishes to take advantage of the generous offer of the Florida Department of Transportation to provide 100% of the funding to make these needed improvements to the Carrabelle-Thompson Airport. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Commission of the City of Carrabelle, Florida, assembled in regular meeting on August 1st, 2024, that the mayor be and is hereby authorized and directed to negotiate and execute a public transportation grant agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation, a document necessary to receive funding from the Florida Department of Transportation as follows. Florida Department of Transportation participation 100%, $1.3 million. City of Carrabelle participation 0%, $0. Total project cost $1.3 million. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be attached to the public transportation grant agreement between the City of Carrabelle and the Florida Department of Transportation when fully executed.
Pleasure of the board.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 06-2024.
Have a motion to approve resolution 06-2024. Do I have a second? Have a second by two. Any further questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Ms. Keisha, you got that right? Okay. Okay. Quasi judicial hearing, we have none. Next on the agenda will be new business, and I'm actually going to turn these next two items over to Ms. Courtney. She's going to have most of the conversation in it anyway. Ms. Courtney?
Item 1, discussion and possible action concerning moving CRA employee to vacant streets and roads department. Last month, you guys authorized me to go ahead and advertise for a streets and roads employee. And so we had to put that out in-house for 1 week, and my CRA employee actually wants to move over to the street and road department. So that needs to be voted on by you guys. I don't see an issue with it.
I'm sad to see him go.
And I will.
Well, you're not going, but you know.
I will leave him in the CRA, even if y'all approve this tonight. He will remain in the CRA until I can fill that CRA position.
Perfect.
So we can't leave the CRA unattended for 3 weeks. But I am going to go ahead and start advertising for the CRA employee. I know we don't have a meeting until later on in the month, but we can just ratify it at the meeting. Because if I have to keep waiting and pushing it out, then we just keep being shorthanded.
Okay, pleasure of the board.
I will make a motion to approve our CRA employee moving to the Streets and Roads Department.
I'll second that motion. Have a motion by Commissioner Brown, second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion?
Just let him know that he did an excellent job.
And if you guys know anyone else that would be interested in the CRA position, that will be open.
Okay.
If not, no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Item 2, discussion and possible action regarding applying for 2 FERDAP grants. FERDAP grants are recreational grants that are through the Department of Environmental Protection. We are allowed to put in for 2, up to $200,000. Now, I know that Russell's talked about getting, I think, some of that FERDAP money for the parking lot, for the overflow.
That's true. However, in our discussions with Fred Fox, that would not be an applicable
Okay.
project under that program.
Well, that might
Right.
work out because I know that Commissioner Brown's expressed interest in Patton Park in the past.
For
And
years.
also, we have the lighthouse that needs some more work. And I've been working with Steve for maybe the past year. We just come short of it last year when the applications had just been turned in and we started having these discussions. So I would like to apply for the 2, since we're not doing the boat ramp, for Patton Park and Lighthouse Park. And we have better luck when we apply for, we can apply for up to 20,000 or 200,000. But when we apply for the $50,000 grants, we seem to get funded. So I would suggest that we just stick with the 50,000. So what it is, this is based on a point system. And the grant writer, he likes to get 30 points. And so, let me throw this.
Renovations and
This is your point system.
You're not on the TV behind you.
Let's get on the TV.
Can you see that, Bill?
I know. Okay, perfect.
And then basically, once we decide, Fred Fox will come in here and he'll help us put this together to see which gets the most points. But your support facilities get so many points, and playgrounds get points, and hiking trails, which that would fall under Patton Park, and recreation type activities. So once we decide which projects we want to apply for, I can sit down with the grant writer and he can say, okay, I think we need to do this, this, and this is going to get you the most points, and that's kind of where our projects have come from.
And Patton Park has a
And you
ton of
see the two
potential.
different- One's renovation, one's construction, so
Mm-hmm.
and we try to mix it all together.
You're going to have some renovation and some new construction.
And I think the strategy, from what I'm hearing on the monetary amount, is a good strategy. If we don't get all of it done and we get approved for a smaller amount grant and you don't accomplish everything, try it again. Go for the next time. I
We
think
can always
that's a good
close it
strategy.
out and come back next year for another one.
Basically, that's what we're doing
I
at.
know the lighthouse, we're looking, Steve wants some restrooms, and we want pavilion for picnicking and playground, and I don't know that we can do all of that with 50,000, but we can see what we can get in.
I have a huge list, but seriously, and we have some other options where I was talking to Courtney about this. We have some museum infrastructure grants coming from the TDC, And it might be that we can work with, and even though a match is not required, sort of match the project and get, amplify that and work it. So I think, be glad to work with Courtney and Brad to look at those lists and come up with something that will be a win.
Yeah, there's no match, but say he gets $50,000 and he gets money from TDC. If we spend more, they're just gonna reimburse us the $50,000, and if we spend more than that, then it can be covered from TDC or from
Yeah,
another funding source, whatever they have in mind.
right. If you use that 50,000, like you said, and your project's larger and you can get funding from some other source, that's
Yeah,
even wonderful. So I think that's a good strategy.
So, do you guys agree on the two that I've suggested?
I'm excited.
I do, but that's up to the board.
So we'll just need a motion to put in for two FERDAP grants for $50,000, one for Patton Park and one for Crooked River Lighthouse.
I am excited to make that motion.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Brown. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Staff, do y'all have anything else?
No, I'll get with Fred Fox and let him know that we have two projects and he'll come and actually Melissa's gonna be here August 30th?
23rd.
23rd.
23rd?
So we sit
Okay.
down with them and we'll get some applications together.
Ms.
That's
Keisha,
exciting.
anything else from you? Okay. Meeting adjourned.